what is up, guys? Happy Falcon Friday, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 5, titled Truth. It was right at an hour long, which is awesome. Like I said last week and the week before that and the week before that, every week these episodes are creeping up in length a little bit, which is awesome because the closer we get to an hour per episode, the more, payoff I feel like the show could have. Especially since we only have 6 episodes in this show. Like I said, this episode was titled Truth. We pick up right off the bat with right after John Walker killed the dude last week. He's running away and he's starting to have like a Homelander moment where he's starting to like break down and he's questioning everything. He's having a lot of emotions and mental, fog going on where he's remembering Lamar's death, so he's angry about that, but he knows he went too far with killing that dude, and then he just all of a sudden he washes it out of his head and he's like, time to go to work. So you can see this guy just kind of put all that behind him, and he's like, nope, I'm ready to, keep on going, kick somebody else's ass. I was justified, I was right, it's time to keep going. So he's in his head, he did the right thing. And now we get the battle. We've seen a clip, the past week of Sam and Bucky getting ready to fight John Walker in like a warehouse. We lead up right off the bat in this episode with that fight taking place. Sam and Bucky come in and they're like, hey man, it's okay, you made a mistake, it was the heat of battle. You took on too much. It's all right. Just admit it. Don't fight this anymore. We don't want anybody else to get hurt. And John's like, no, I'm not, I'm not dealing with it. That guy killed Lamar. And they're like, no, he didn't. Like, Carly killed Lamar. But in John's head, he's telling himself the guy he killed is the guy that killed Lamar. So he's justified. And they're like, man, you got to give me the shield. You got to give up the shield. He's like, oh, that's what this is. And he's like attached in his head. He's like, I am Captain America. This shield is mine. And he's like, you guys don't want to do this? Bucky's like, yeah, we do. And the fight is on. They start kicking each other's ass. And it's brutal. It's really brutal. It's a knockdown, drag out in every sense of that phrase. You've got Sam trying to contend with John Walker. And he's staying almost toe to toe. But when John gets a hold of Sam, that's when we're in trouble. Because Sam is amazing with the jetpack and the wings and flipping and being acrobatic and evading and stuff, but he doesn't have any super strength, so he's not a glass cannon, but almost. Like, if he's grounded and he starts getting hurt bad, it could be over soon for him. We've got Bucky going toe-to-toe with John, and I'd like to say Bucky has the edge. I mean, John just took the serum, so maybe his strength is a little bit more at its peak, because he's, like, so peaked on the serum right now. He's twitching and stuff. He doesn't even have full control of his body sometimes. Bucky's been, at this for 90 years, and he's 106 years old at this point. So, he could be a little bit weaker, in the terms of strength and stamina as far as compared to John. But skill and fighting and everything, I feel like he's going to take it. He's got the vibranium arm, so he can contend with the shield. He can catch the shield at full speed and all that stuff. But, it's a knockdown, drag out with them, and John feels like they're making him do this, like, because they want to take the shield and everything. They're in the wrong, so they are making him act upon hurting and trying to kill them. Like, he wants to kill them. I mean, this is a bloodlusted fight for him, and it gets really close. He ends up throwing Bucky and knocks Bucky out. His whole arm like starts freaking out because it hit something metal really hard. Bucky's at battlefield removed right now. Now it's back on to Sam and John. So now we get to see Sam really try and contend with John. And he does okay for a second, but it quickly kind of turns negative because, like I said, as soon as John gets a hold of Sam, it's kind of lights out and game over for him. He gets him grounded. He rips the wings off of the suit, which is, basically us seeing Sam shed the Falcon mantle, very raw there. Rips the wings off the suit. He's getting ready to kill Sam with the shield. Then we get Bucky coming in to save the day. There's a lot of that in this show, especially in this fight, where we see the shield coming down like in Civil War. And then when Bucky starts beating on John Walker, it kind of pans out. And it was real reminiscent of the Civil War fight at the end of them taking on Iron Man with, like, beating him down and him, like, going down to his knees and everything. A lot of that felt the same way as grueling as this fight was. Finally, we have John holding the shield for dear life, but he's at a disadvantage. He's got his arm around, like, a concrete wall corner, kind of, and he's holding the shield all he can. You've got Sam pulling on the shield with the jetpack on full blast, and then you've got Bucky giving it his all. And finally, they get the shield off, and in the process, they snap John's arm around this concrete wall. Bone breaks. He screams no, and he's not screaming no because he broke his arm. He's screaming no because he had to relinquish the shield. Like he did not want that to happen. And then they do a killer duo move where like Bucky picks him up, and then Sam has the shield and goes full blast with the jetpack and just hits him right in the back, in the spine somewhere. They just knock the hell out of him. He's so discombobulated that he ends up passing out on the ground. Bucky walks over, drops the bloodied up shield at Sam, and doesn't say a word, but his face, like, do not give this up again. Don't let this happen again, you know. And then we get a really emotional scene with Sam picking up the shield and like holding it dearly and kind of trying to wipe the blood off of it, like he's apologizing to it, like, I'm so sorry, you know, I'm sorry that this is what this came to, you know. It really felt that way, and you could see that on Anthony Mackie's face. And then the rest of this episode is very, very character driven. Not really hardly any more plot. We get to see Sam go visit with Isaiah, and Isaiah tells him a lot of things about the super soldier stuff from back in the day, how they had this group of guys that they told him was, they were getting like tetanus shots and stuff, and then slowly they started dying, and then some of them were overseas, and then that's when Isaiah dressed up and went over to save them, and then they jailed him for 30 years because they were like, hey, out of all these people, you're the only one that didn't die, and the serum didn't do anything weird to it. It's actually working for you. It hasn't worked for anybody else like this besides Steve Rogers. So they kept him a secret, they erased him, and then they just worked on him and experimented on him for 30 years to see what it was in his body that made the serum work and work out. And it's a really horribly just emotional, dark scene between him and Sam. And he's so cynical. He's saying the world, you know, we're never going to get a black Captain America. They're not going to let you hold those stars and stripes. They don't mean nothing good to me anymore. And then you see Sam, you know, having this internal battle. Like, he wants to pick up the shield. He feels like it's the right thing to do. Steve passed it on to him. He's feeling that calling. But then he's got this idol of this man that he looks up to so much in Isaiah, telling him the exact opposite. So you see that struggle. Then we see Sam going back home to see Sarah and the boys and start fixing up the boat to sell it. We get Bucky. He ends up showing up with Sam and Sarah, and they have a great rapport. They're starting to become really good friends. They, you know, he stays the night a few nights. He works on the boat with them. He flirts with Sarah a little bit, and Sam acknowledges it. It's a really funny, quick little scene there where they're just kind of like, oh, it's nice to meet you, you know. And you got to think he's 106 years old, and you know he's just happy to meet a nice, attractive lady. So yeah, he's gonna oogle for a second, you know. It's not her fault. It should be a compliment to Sam, but whatever, you know. It was just funny. We get to see Sarah decide not to sell the boat, and Sam's like, we got to preserve this. This is a big deal, you know. This is our family's legacy. Whatever it takes, I'm gonna make it happen. We pick up with Kari and the Flag Smashers. They're just getting more fueled for their fight. Now Batroc the Leaper is in cahoots with Kari. He wants to kill Falcon. She's like, you're going to get your chance. So next episode, I guess we're going to get to see a big battle where Batroc the Leaper is going to go toe-to-toe and try to kill Sam. And the Flag Smashers are going to be executing their final plan on the GRC, trying to hurt people and whatnot. We picked up, it pretty much put everybody in the show into perspective. We followed John Walker's trial, where he's put on his military trial. He gets an other than honorable discharge, so they strip him of all of his accolades, all of his medals, his rank, his benefits, his retirement, everything. They just wipe him off the books. And we get a really good scene from Wyatt Russell where he's like throwing everything back in their faces that you want to say. I mean, for a man in his position, even though he was in the wrong, the way he's going about defending himself, like, you guys built me, you trained me, you turned me into this person, I did everything you've ever told me to do, and this is what I get. And they just, you know, they don't really have much to say. They can see to an extent of where they did push him and turn him into this, and it's a big commentary on PTSD and soldiers and post-service and whatnot to parallel into the real world, you know, which we also get with Sam, you know, and the black man, black Captain America thing. So they touch on a lot of real world things here. And the trial just, you know, You can't help but feel a little bit bad for John Walker, and maybe it's just the gravity and the emotion that Wyatt Russell brings to it, but you can just see the man on the brink, and he snaps and he's screaming in the trial, and then he finally leaves, and then we see him go talk to Lamar's family, and he's sticking to his story of the man I killed is the man that killed Lamar. Like, so in his head, that's the narrative. That's the narrative he's giving everybody else to justify himself, and he's still in his head. He's Captain America. We get a kick-ass training montage. Well, before the training montage with just Anthony Mackie, we get a sweet scene between Anthony Mackie and Bucky where they're sharing a lot of heart-to-heart things about what Sam's feeling about being Captain America and what the shield means to him, and Bucky, saying, hey, that shield's like the only family I had, and so I was kind of letting it control how I lived my life. And Sam's like, hey, some tough love, some tough truth here, brother. Until you really fully make amends and make some people whole that you've hurt and whatnot, you're not going to feel whole yourself either. So we get some tough love with Sam and Bucky, and it was really cool because they're tossing the shield back and forth. When Bucky throws it and it hits a Matt, Sam's the one that catches it, and when Sam throws it and it hits Matt, Bucky's the one that catches it. So they're playing catch and just building their friendship and their bond and their rapport, talking about this stuff that's in their hearts. And then we get a really good training montage scene where Sam is really embracing the Captain America way, where he is throwing the shield, and at first he's not catching it. He's almost decapitating himself all the time and killing himself. And then we slowly see him starting to catch it and get really good with it. He's doing the awesome Captain America like twirls and acrobatic tricks where he's spinning and kicking in the air while he's throwing the shield and then catching the shield right when he lands perfectly. Just like Steve Rogers, just like Chris Evans, we saw him doing, his stunt double doing in, Avengers 1 through 4 and all the movies he was in, and like The Winter Soldier. All those really cool kick-ass acrobatic Captain America strong moves we're getting to see Sam do. And even though he's not super serum juiced up, he's looking great. Anthony Mackie himself, in his career, he's been cool to follow because he's a great example of what you can do as a natural weightlifter, as a male, where you're not juicing up and it's not your entire life, but you just want to look good and fit your role. We've seen him just get a little bit bigger and a little bit juicier every time, and he looks great in this. He's got some good biceps, he's got some good traps and shoulders, he's got a great chest on him, like a freaking shelf of a chest on him. He really looks good in this. I mean, the montage it had me rocking and rolling, man. I was ready to work out and catch a Captain America shield. We got a great scene where Zemo and Bucky are at the Sokovian Memorial, which we had seen in the trailers. And Bucky walks up with a pistol in his hand, and Zemo's like, hey, I decided not to kill you. And Bucky's like, imagine my relief. And he flicks the safety on the pistol, and then Zemo's like, hey, you've got to take care of Kari, she's fully radicalized. And then Bucky walks up and he like holds the pistol up to Zemo like he's gonna kill him, and then he shoots it and it's empty, and then he drops all the bullets on the ground. And then Zemo gets taken in by the Dora Milaje to go to the raft, the floating prison. So Zemo's off to, he's off to justice now, and he's okay with it. You see him kind of like, well, this is where I end up, So really, really nicely, concludes that little plot there with Zemo. Everything in this episode just delivered on what you wanted. And then we got a post-credit stinger for the first time in this series. Great post-credit stinger of John Walker forging his own Captain America shield. He's welding it together. He's putting his medals on it. So we're going to see him still coming back and trying to take on the mantle somehow. Oh, and then we got this Wakandan box, this mystery box that Bucky gives to Sam. And he's like, hey, I called in a favor to the Wakandans. And we don't get to see the box yet. That's our when we end the episode before the post-credit scene with John Walker, Sam's opening the box, and that's where we end it. And it's like, I want to see this suit. I want to see what this suit is going to look like. I cannot wait. I'm so happy that they saved the suit for the season finale episode. And I want to see, John Walker and Sam going into a fight, Captain America on Captain America, with the world watching. And I want to see Sam looking a little better and sharper, kicking his ass a little bit, and like ending up busting his shield down, because Sam has the real shield that's made from vibranium. John is just welding it together out of steel in his garage like a dude with a welder and some fabricating stuff. So it's inevitably, I think, hopefully we get to see like a cool scene of, like it getting broken down by the real shield, so the real Captain America is breaking down the fake one. And then we're planting seeds to see where John turns into in the future, with Elaine from Seinfeld coming in and spilling a bunch of beans that she knows about him and saying she's kind of got big plans for him. So we're seeing seeds planted for John Walker, for Wyatt Russell now, that could turn into a lot of things down the road. So this episode really made you, like, if you weren't sure about Sam Wilson being Captain America when he got handed the shield at the end of Endgame, now when he shows up in the next big event or something and that's our new Captain America, this show makes you go, yes, that is our new Captain America. That's the man. He's got the heart, the soul, the smarts, the tactics, the compassion, the skill, and the strength. This is our Captain America. So guys, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of this episode. Did it do as much for you as it did for me? I'm loving this show. I can't wait to see where it ends next week. I hope it's at least an hour long. Have a good one, guys. I appreciate it. Follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Patreon, all at Marvel Buff Nerd. I'm out.